What would you do if strangers in uniforms showed up at your door, demanding your guns, but something about them felt off? My name is Jack Harlan, and last week, I faced that question head-on. It was a muggy evening in Pinewood Estates, the kind where the air sticks to your skin. I was in my garage, cleaning my hunting rifle, when a black van rolled up my driveway. No markings, just a sleek, predatory gleam under the streetlights. 3 men stepped out, wearing crisp police uniforms, badges glinting. They said they were from the HOA's new security task force, here to enforce a community safety ordinance by confiscating firearms. My gut twisted. Pinewood's HOA was a pain, but this was new. The leader, a stocky guy with a buzz cut and cold eyes, introduced himself as Officer Daniels. He flashed a badge, but it looked cheap, like something from a costume shop. His partners, twitchy and overly eager, kept their hands near their holsters. "Mr. Harlan," Daniels said, voice flat, "hand over your weapons. Noncompliance will result in arrest." My heart pounded. I'd heard rumors of scams like this, fake cops shaking down law-abiding folks, but in my quiet suburb? I tightened my grip on the rifle, still unloaded, and stepped forward. "Show me the ordinance," I said, keeping my voice steady. Daniels smirked, but his eyes flickered with unease. They didn't expect resistance. Most people would have folded, intimidated by the uniforms and the van's looming presence. But I'm not most people. I've been a hunter since I was 12, taught by my dad to respect guns and question authority. I asked for their IDs, their precinct, anything to verify them. Daniels stammered, then barked. "This isn't a negotiation." That's when I noticed the van's license plate. How tough state. No government markings. My suspicion hardened into certainty. These weren't cops. They were imposters, banking on fear to steal what was mine. Then came the twist. As I stalled, my neighbor, Mrs. Clara, a retired librarian in her 70s, shuffled out of her house next door. She'd been watching from her window, her sharp eyes missing nothing. "Jack, don't give them a thing," she shouted, waving her phone. "I've got 911 on speed dial, and I know fakes when I see 'em." Her voice, frail but fierce, cut through the tension like a blade. The officers froze, clearly rattled. Clara, who I'd always thought was just a sweet old lady, had just flipped the script. She'd seen their van circling the neighborhood for days, acting shady, and had already reported it to the real police. The standoff grew electric. Daniels tried to regain control, stepping toward me with a hand on his gun. "Back off, old lady," he snapped at Clara, but his voice cracked. I raised my rifle not to aim, just to show I wasn't bluffing. "You're on my property," I said, low and calm. "Leave, or we'll see who's faster." My pulse thundered, but I held my ground. Clara, bless her, kept her phone up, recording everything. The imposters exchanged glances, their confidence crumbling. They hadn't planned for a nosy neighbor or a homeowner who wouldn't budge. Suddenly, sirens wailed in the distance. Clara's call had worked. The officers scrambled, piling into their van, but it was too late. 2 real police cruisers screeched into the cul-de-sac, lights flashing. The imposters tried to bolt, but the cops boxed them in. Federal investigators, it turned out, had been tracking these guys for weeks. They were part of a ring posing as HOA enforcers, preying on suburbs across 3 states, seizing guns to sell on the black market. Their van, now impounded, was a treasure trove of evidence: fake badges, stolen weapons, even forged HOA documents. As the feds cuffed Daniels and his crew, Clara shuffled over, her eyes twinkling. "Told you I'm not just a bookworm," she said, patting my arm. I laughed, the tension draining from my body. The real cops thanked us both, especially Clara, whose quick thinking had turned the tide. I realized then that courage doesn't always look like a man with a gun. Sometimes, it's a 70-year-old with a phone and a spine of steel. That night, I sat on my porch, rifle back in its case, watching the stars. I thought about freedom, not just the right to bear arms, but the right to stand up, to question, to fight for what's yours. Pinewood Estates felt quieter now, but stronger, like we'd all remembered something vital. No one protects your home like you do, and sometimes, it takes a villager, a librarian, to remind you of that. Yindi.